All right, welcome everybody to the live stream special edition Bitcoin miners to the moon. Is that
I
even
know, dude.
enough?
I am with you there, real Gary Gensler, by the way. What a day. It's funny because I'm giddy from ear to ear.
Thank you, the real Gary Gensler, for your $6.66 super chat. Six-figure club, let's go. Yeah, we've had some days in the past where some people let us know they made six figures that day. Several of our members once, 3 or 4 weeks ago. I'm wondering if anybody had that kind of day today. This was, depending on, well, not really even depending. Pretty much all the Bitcoin miners had a really good day or an unbelievably good day. I mean, these are historic. I did two charts that I'll show you guys in a few minutes. I just couldn't even. I knew what happened, but when I saw it in the charts, it was like this is crazy. This rivals, like, I remember the last. I'm sure a lot of you remember. It was not that long ago, the last bull market, when we had big days. Just they became almost an expectation. Were they this big? I mean, this is crazy. And some of these small caps, wow. Just
Tom, I put in more money, like we were talking about it, and I put in another large amount of money and bought Marathon. Since the time I did that in my whole market, I've doubled what I had, my market cap. I doubled my market cap.
wow. That is spectacular.
Obviously, it's not all from Marathon.
No, but Marathon had an unbelievably good run. So I got into Marathon, I got out. I was only in there for 5 weeks. I pulled a big run, but I missed an awful lot. However, most of that money I put in Hut and Hive. And we can talk about Hut later. Hut has way more than doubled in a short period of time since the merger. And, I'll remind everybody, and it wasn't necessarily this group, but when we interviewed Sue on the channel, the comments section was probably full of more hate than any comments section I've seen. Well, there have been a few that have rivaled it, but people were just disgusted. And now here we are. Hut's been on fire. Marathon's on fire. I mean, you can't pick a stock. I've been telling people, this is not going to be one of those deals where you can just, throw a dart at the board and pick a miner. But you know what? For the last few weeks, it has been one of those deals. I will caution everybody. We will definitely talk more later. I do think we got to be careful. So, not everything is going to keep going straight up forever here. So,
Bite your tongue.
listen, I would, if we were voting, I would vote for that to be the case. But some of
So
this,
what you're saying, it's a good time for a poll? Is that what you're saying?
what I'm saying is, we always talk about have a plan, right? I mean,
An exit strategy, baby.
have an exit strategy, and it doesn't mean you automatically have to, that doesn't mean this has to be your moment to exit, depending on which Bitcoin miner you have, when you bought them, what your time frame was. Was it a day trade, a swing trade? Was it a buy and hold? But particularly some of these small caps, this is not financial advice, but it is my opinion that some of these small caps are going to have a very bad January.
You might need to stop talking for a second. You know why?
How come?
26 likes and 157 people watching.
That's just
What
wrong.
in
It's
the
wrong.
freaking world? Wow. Just
Everybody,
wow.
please do us a big favor and smash the like
Unbelievable.
button. It is the most important thing for the channel. It helps. Also, it helps the live stream out in real time. And I have heard people say that it helps Bitcoin. I can't verify that.
We cannot verify that. Sorry. I didn't mean to take you off your mojo.
No, yeah, wow, that's like the worst ratio we've ever had in the history
I know,
of time.
that's why I was like, this is great. A day like today.
Right, today was the today was liftoff if we hadn't had it already. So, yeah, we shoot for 200 likes. It really does help the stream. So, all kidding aside, if you guys would be so kind as to hit the like button, and I see a lot of you are, I appreciate that. And if you're new to the channel, or if you have not yet subscribed, you can also subscribe because that is free, and we are just a few subscribers away from 16,000.
I don't think we're going to see. It's funny because isn't it really sad that you always remember the negative comments? I always do. I wonder if Chris Dominator is going to be in today. Remember? He's like, oh, sold all my marathon, going on the sidelines.
He's
Took all my money.
I think he wakes up in the morning and flips a coin. Chris Dominator has been with the channel for a long time. I don't know if he's here right now, but
No, I don't
he
think
has
he
been
is.
both the -- 1, like, most vocal marathon lover in the history of the universe, and then
no, that
like
was
a
me,
day
Tim.
within one day he'll switch to
Yeah.
this stock is absolute garbage. I sold it all, never buy it again. So
I
it
think
might be antagonizing. I'm not
I
sure.
think we got to look at who we did a thing back in the beginning of December, which Bitcoin miners were going to quadruple first. Do you remember that?
Yeah, well, they all did.
Isn't that insane?
They didn't. I'm exaggerating. They all didn't quadruple, but I'm going to show you some charts. It's
Well,
this is crazy.
just so everybody remembers, it was $4.48
All right.
for CleanSpark, $9.41 for Marathon, and $11.39 for Riot. The only other one you had was Bitfarm at $1.17. How would you like to go back a month? Actually, was that a month or wait? No, we did this on 10/6, I think. 10/6/23.
All I can say is I could not have backed up the truck any more than I did on CleanSpark and Bitfarms back at the bottom. So, and I will tell you, I've missed a lot of other things, but you know, we all have only limited resources, so you can't catch everything. And I stuck with the ones that I have an extremely high level of conviction in. If they get beat up, if they get beat down, I'm going to add some more. You know, so for those of you who are better at day trading, swing trading, I mean, there's money to be made here that's just staggering. By the way, at Real Gary Ginsler, future guest, crypto CPA question mark. I'm assuming that is a YouTuber. So
I've never heard of him.
I don't know. We're going to have multiple CPAs on the stream.
We have to talk about any, by the way. We have to. I just saw his Zonner. I've been calling that a short squeeze for the last 3 weeks.
That's true. That's true.
I'm-
George called any before it moved an inch.
Yes. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I felt that short squeeze. I didn't even get in on it, unfortunately. No, an accountant for crypto. Well, I mean, it's just cash. You made money. You just treat it as regular income, right, Tom? Not tax advice.
I mean, I don't know what country you're in or what, but yeah, I mean, short-term capital gains in the United States are treated as ordinary income, but definitely please
Also,
consult your tax professional.
the beginning of November, I made a statement that I was going heavy into crypto. Do you remember this statement, Tom?
Yes, indeed.
Said I'm putting in 6 figures. I'm up almost 40% from that day in my crypto holding.
That's and
You know
I
what
know
is
you've been
insane?
extremely dedicated about your dollar cost averaging.
I just realized something. I'll tell you something off the stream. I just realized something. It's incredible. It's more incredible than I even realized it. I just never put the two numbers together.
Better than you thought, right?
Much better than I thought. Yep.
I had a feeling.
So at what point in time do you start to back off buying actual Bitcoin? Or do you think there's a run happening more on the miners? Do you think Bitcoin's going to catch up? What do you think is going to happen, Tom?
Well, I'll give a couple answers to that. Number one, the run on the miners. I mean, this past 2 days, the past 7 trading days, which was really 6 the chart that I labeled says the last 7 trading days, but it's really the last 6 trading days because it was a holiday I forgot. In that period of time, things have gone bananas. The year-to-date chart shows the Bitcoin miners did what they were supposed to do this year. Many doubted all year long. Not this group. This is the group, for the most part, that has been here. And, hello to all of the members, by the way. I see a lot of members in the chat, and I know most of you guys stuck with your stocks, that you have. And everybody doesn't have the exact same list. There's no doubt. We've all compared our lists over and over and over. But, if you stuck with it, it was almost hard to go wrong at this point. I do think some of these are getting into dangerously overbought territory in the short term, but long term on the stocks I hold, I don't think we're anywhere near done. As far as Bitcoin goes, here's my answer to you. I will answer with this. This came out today. MicroStrategy buys $615.7 million worth of Bitcoin, 14,620 Bitcoin, and this was from November 30th to December 26th. Now, I want to remind everybody, so this is 14,600 Bitcoin, $615 million. Remember, this was less than a month ago. MicroStrategy buys another 16,000 Bitcoin. 16,130 Bitcoin for $593 million. That was in November. Michael Saylor did it again in December. Those are 2 of the 3 biggest monthly purchases in the history of MicroStrategy. He is stacking Bitcoin ahead of this halving. So for those of you who think that he has any doubt as to what's going on, I mean, this is all in. Right? He spent $1.2 billion in the last 2 months buying Bitcoin. So, obviously he has access to a lot more money, but that is a monumental, I mean, because remember, Bitcoin had a gigantic run prior to this. So he's still dollar cost averaging in, right? All of these in this time frame, which was from November 30th to December 26th, all of these were, so $42,110 was his average. So, he bought a, 2/3 of $1 billion worth of this at these prices. So
he must know something.
I think he has a high level of conviction. And again, whether there's a short-term pullback, whatever the case may be, then he'll just buy more. So, which is what, I feel the same way about the Bitcoin miners that I'm in and Bitcoin. So I don't think, does anybody think we're near the top of the bull market for this, cycle? We haven't even gotten to the halving yet. So I thought that, this moves the needle. This is 2 months in a row for him to buy, 15, almost 15,000 this month, 16,000 last month, about $1.2 billion of just buying Bitcoin. I mean, it's incredible. And by the way, in this period, Bitcoin didn't even really run. So, we've been going sideways for about 3 weeks. So he's been able to continue to dollar cost average in, and it's not like, oh, well, this is the reason Bitcoin ran up. No, Bitcoin was sideways for most of these purchases.
I'm only buying Bitcoin up to 50,000, just so you know.
Well, we don't know when it's going to get to 50. That could be a while.
I know it might be. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, me personally, that's my out point.
So you're going to dollar cost average
all the way up to 50. Whether I accelerated, guys. I told you I was doing a small amount, and I realized that, we have a chance on the 10th of next month for some ETFs to be approved in Bitcoin, which, who knows if it's going to happen or not, but I just figured I can't afford to miss that run. I just can't afford to miss it. Did you hear me? I can't afford to miss it.
I'm typing poll.
Hi, Mole. Will be remembered as the smartest guy. Mr. Saylor will be remembered as the smartest guy in the world, or the dumbest moron if Bitcoin goes to $1. Well, it's even better though if you think about it. He's not even well. He has a lot of his own coins,
He's
but he's not.
personally
He's
heavily invested, but
right.
yes, this is not. So I just put a poll up for those of you able to vote. I know there's certain devices that for whatever reason can't. Bitcoin ETF on or before January 10th, 2024. So, that's the significant date everybody's looking at. A couple of people think it's going to be 1 or 2 days earlier than that. I tried to watch, there's been a massive, massive amount of YouTube videos about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. So I pulled up a few of those. The Bitcoin miners are starting to get massive amount of attention from all of the largest financial YouTubers. So you guys know we are a very, very small channel here. If you have not yet subscribed, we're just trying to get to 16,000 right now. So if you enjoy this content, if you want to help the channel, you can hit the subscribe button. I'm talking about YouTubers that have 500,000, 600,000, a million subscribers. All of a sudden, they're all doing videos on the Bitcoin miners. It's last night I had 3 people that I subscribe to, and I subscribe to hundreds of people. I hardly ever get to really watch videos, but I at least do scroll through the thumbnails to see what people are talking about. And man, people are talking about the Bitcoin miners right now in a big way, and most of them are talking about Marathon. That is getting an unbelievable amount of attention right now. And a lot of these people are not mentioning at all.
Tom, you and I were talking. Do you think CleanSpark has a chance to pass Riot? I mean, I still see they're about $1.3 billion apart, $1.4 billion apart.
It's getting very close. CleanSpark's market cap has ran. CleanSpark was ended up 14.4% today versus 7.3% for Riot. So it did a little more catching up today. I just think I will tell you guys, and I'm going to do this poll because I think everybody disagrees with me. I bought more Riot today. So I think people are missing the big picture. I understand there's issues with Riot. I've done videos in detail. I won't say complaining, but asking management what is going on with these few items. But those things aside, I think people are missing the picture on Riot. I just definitely want to get to Clive Chang. Thank you very much for the extremely generous super chat. It does help the channel out a lot. So much appreciated. Update. This is Clive's update. Clive has been making bank. Update. All expire in January 2025. Sticking to my plan to take profits near the end of 2024. $20 marathon 750 strikes. I wonder if those. I don't remember all the way back, but Clive's been doing a good job of giving us updates. Those were, not too deep in the money when he got them. They might not have even been in the money. So, and now marathon's at $30. 750 strike point up 700%. $10 marathons, $10 marathons up 677%. 71 CleanSpark $5 strikes up 400%. 63 HUT $2 strikes up 113%. And then lagging behind 6 Riot $15 strikes still up 43%, and some more Riots up 35%. So I do think Riot is going to have. I think Riot's going to have a big, big run in 2024. Not financial advice. That's my 3rd largest position. Full disclosure. And I've been adding. I try to tell you guys, on days I buy this or that, and we had a members only live stream yesterday, and I let everybody know I bought some yesterday and I bought some more today because I really, things are off to the races. I got Riot today. I don't even know, it was up like 1% or something like that, and everything was running, and things even took off from there. I mean, dramatically. And it wasn't really, the funny thing was Bitcoin had a nice run here at the end of the day, but that's not when the miners ran. The miners were running through all of this active. This is the 15-minute time frame. So as Bitcoin was going sideways all day, and we were, this is where, for those of you new to the channel, by the way, time out. Thank you again, Clive. That is extremely generous. It does help the channel out a lot, so it's very much appreciated. Thanks for the super chat, and thank you for being a member. And absolutely, congratulations. You are killing it on those leap options. So we talk about, option strategies. So, for those of you familiar, these leap options can perform. And I mean, these have another year left on them. Aha. Hi, Mo. If I'm apologize if I'm not pronouncing
No,
that
that's the right.
correctly.
That's proper.
Welcome to the Talking Investing Squad. Thank
Tell
you
him what
so
he won,
much
Tom.
for joining.
What did he win?
What you have won is access to our members only Discord. We have a once a week members only live stream. We do talk about a little bit more on the members only live stream, a little more freely because we don't have to worry about the YouTube algorithm getting angry at us. It's just the group. And then for most of the year, and I will pick this up again, we do a once a week. The members pick a video for me to do a stock for me to do a deep dive on, and I do that. I will admit during the holiday season and in the end of the year, as I've been spending time going through all of the Bitcoin mining companies, redoing all my due diligence for the most recent financial statements, all the way through even the micro cap and nano cap stocks that, sometimes I'll skip a quarter or two updating my due diligence. So going into the end of the year here, I've been unbelievably busy doing that. So you can expect some member content relating to some of these smaller ones that maybe the world doesn't care as much about. However, they are starting to run like crazy. So welcome. And if anybody is interested, we also have probably the least expensive membership on the internet. There should be a join button next to the subscribe button on YouTube, and it's $5 a month. So you're welcome to join and get some content and talk to the group. And thank you to the group. We have the greatest group of members in the world.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Period. So I appreciate all of you guys.
Friend. I call you friend. Not you, Tom.
You've called me many things.
Tom, I'm gonna ask you. Somebody had a really simple question, and that is this question: are the miners overvalued yet?
No. Well,
no.
And that's a blanket statement. So okay. I think some of them, yes. The miners I'm invested in, I do not think they're overvalued. Are they overheated? Meaning they're due for a pullback. Even if I think something's going to triple or quadruple, you can still feel, that's a 12 to 18 month point of view. You can still have two things at the same time. You can acknowledge, I think my $3 Bitfarms is going to $10, but is it going to go visit 270 again in the middle? Maybe. I mean, things have run up like crazy. So, you always got to be prepared for a pullback. Just no matter what, especially, and I'm going to go through some of the technicals quickly. I went through this with the members yesterday. I don't want to bore people, but every single Bitcoin miner from a technical standpoint is historically overbought and due for a pullback. Bitcoin itself has avoided a few pullbacks, and the technicals have kind of reset themselves a little bit, and it seems like we've avoided those. But the technicals on the Bitcoin miners, I mean, some of these things are just off the charts. They're screaming that there's going to be a pullback. Having said that, things can keep running, right? I gave this speech last night. I'm looking at Mawson. It's up 46% today. Ennie's up 31% today. Core Scientific, 27% today. TerraWolf. TerraWolf's a $500 million company before today. It's up 29%. We were sitting here saying, well, you know what? TerraWolf might be able to solve their debt problem based on the fact that their market cap has increased. Their market cap increased more today than their entire debt situation.
Wow.
Today. So if they just...
Wow. I
mean...
That's insane.
It's unbelievable. So TerraWolf is a company that, I have loved what they do as a company, and they've had this debt that has been an anchor, and I think they've solved their problem.
That's awesome.
Let's just say the market has solved their problem.
Paul wrote something on Twitter today talking about
he did?
how impressed he is with his company and how great everything's looking, and he's just so happy. I mean, he's like a different person today. Now it makes sense because of what you said. I mean, he's
Yeah.
just like a different person.
I mean, look at what I'm going to go there quickly. And
Yeah, Tom, you just so you know, I mean, me myself and Tom and I have never really agreed on much, but because we were getting kicked in the nuts for so long, Tom. And thank you from me. For I'm sure everybody wants to say the same thing. Thank you for taking and changing my password on my account so I couldn't sell anything. I really appreciate that.
no, you deserve the credit. You have changed your philosophy really to, you know,
Well, when you
dollar cost
lose,
average and yeah.
guys, they got me for I shouldn't say this, but they got me for a few 100,000, and it pissed me off. But I've gotten that back, and I've way past it. So, because dude, this is a game. We don't look at this as investing as a game because it's our money and we worked for it. And it's really hard when you lose a dollar. But the hedge fund dudes, they look at this as a game. Okay, they want to take every single dollar that you have and that you worked for and laugh about it as they smoke their cigars. Sorry.
Well, that we always say that they don't want
All
some
right,
of your
welcome to
money.
Talking
They don't want
Investing.
most of your money. They want all your money.
Yeah.
And it's our job to try to make sure they don't get it. We as retail investors and, especially I know the people that have been following this channel for a long time and the members are dedicated retail investors, and they put their time in and they, a lot of people have a lot of insight in our comments section on the YouTube channel, but more so in the members only Discord. We have an outstanding conversation, and we give people that, all the time we get people that have done a deep dive of their own, and they'll leave a 4 or 5 paragraph comment in the members only Discord going through information that it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I mean, maybe that's boring to some people, but we have very knowledgeable members. And just to put a bow on this conversation we were having, I'm double checking the market cap, and if I do the math and look at their outstanding shares, TerraWolf's market cap was up $100 million today. So that's more than their debt now. So their market cap's up more than their debt. So to me, and the thing becomes, so they don't get to put that money in their pocket. But remember, if they do a 10% dilution now, and this was a company whose market cap was $200 million, a month and a half ago, and less a month ago. And that's where I was saying, they just don't have the market cap to go raise
2 weeks ago.
As a $200 million company, you can't go raise $100 million. But as a $700 million company, guess what? You can raise $70 million. That's 10% stock dilution. That erases the majority of your debt. Now, all of a sudden, your debt's not a problem, right? Everybody doesn't have to be at absolute zero, and they've been paying down their debt as they go. So I'm looking at just the last financials. There's been almost 3 months since then. I see them in a very different light. TerraWolf's the one company of the 5 or 6 that I had big worries about. This run up in their stock, to me, changes everything for them. And this has been, a vicious run up.
Yeah, it's boring making mountains of cash, isn't it? Do me a favor, 291 people watching, 147
Oh, wow.
likes. Tim Brothers, thank you for joining the members only club.
Oh, yes. Thank you, George. Thank you, Tim, for joining. Much appreciated. Welcome to the membership. I hope you enjoy. There's a bunch of content ready and waiting for you, so feel free. And lately we've done a bunch of deep dives on some of the Bitcoin miners that I don't do videos for for the public because there's not enough interest in, but a lot of them were, if you're into the Bitcoin miners, there was some good information.
So did we go over 3 years yet with the channel, Tom? Or are we 2.5, 2 and 8 months?
I think we're
about
3
March?
years because
we're 3 years. So I just want to tell everybody, since we have 291 people watching, Tom came to me or I came to Tom. I don't know what it was, but he saw this setup 3 years ago, he saw that, that Bitcoin was going to change the future of America and of the world. And then he saw these miners, and he made what did you make a great return on Marathon, Todd?
Yeah, Marathon. At that time, there were fewer things to trade, and but there were some great in the last bull market. For those of you who were there, and I know a bunch of you were there, I caught a company that I is funny. I'm going to show you a press release today from this company. There were several big run-ups. I caught Bit Digital, stock ticker BTBT, in an extremely short period of time. They put out a short report, a hit piece on them, although as it turns out, it might have been closer to the truth than I thought. But regardless of that, they got past that. So I put, for that one went from $4 to $16 in, weeks, just like this type of run. It was weeks. So, that was one. And, the big one was Marathon. I got in the, I feel like it was in the very high threes, and I got out at like 40 something. So, that's more than a 10x. Now, I did not take the run to $83. So, that's the thing that, I did my game plan. So, a lot of congratulations to everybody that took the run, because when I got out in the 40s, it doubled again after that. So that's how, much these can run. But I took my 10x. That's, to
Just so
me,
you know, Tom, that was the whole reason I got back in to Marathon. I was like, you know what? It's going to happen to him again. Sorry, Tom.
and it's in the middle of happening to them again right now. That's right. TerraWolf's market cap's up 222%. So remember, 200% is a triple. So, they just added the better part of, $350, $400 million to their market cap. They now, this is a different company. And it's nothing.
Right, and I would say this is a different market too, Tom. I would say this is more of a mature market, wouldn't you? It's becoming more mature. I wouldn't say it's mature, but
to
the
that point,
infrastructure is built out.
right. All of these companies are so many multiples bigger than even the very largest Bitcoin miner was back in the previous bull market. And I'm not talking about market cap or stock price. I'm talking about from an infrastructure standpoint, from an exahash standpoint. Even Riot and Marathon were down at 1 or 2 exahash in the last bull market. We've got companies putting out press releases talking about, 30, 40, 50. And we've got company, Marathon is at 23.1 exahash according to their last update. So, and so they reached their goal. Riot finally, they did get to, I think they were at 12.1 or 12.4, which, it took them. Both of those companies got a little off track. It took longer than it should have to get where they're going. And still, Riot stock has not gotten to where I think it's going, but that's my personal opinion. I think there's a lot more good things ahead for Riot. And I think one of the things was they put out a gigantic press release. They bought a massive amount of machines, and they have options to machines past that to get them to some ridiculous. I think they said 100 exahash. And I think that actually hurt them, because when you put out these press releases that seem like hyperbole, in addition to that, it lacked specifics. So they bought all these, and they did not say, receiving these on these date, those on those date, these on these dates. So all these details are to follow. And that is when I think, so again, this is just my feeling, all those details are yet to come. They have purchased these machines. And when they start to say, okay, we're going to get, 10,000 machines, by the end of the first quarter, and another 10,000 machines by the end of the second quarter, or whatever the case may be.
All right, welcome to Talking Investing.
That's when I think you're going to see investors go, okay, that this is starting to give some clarity, and I think you'll see Riot run. So I think that's ahead for Riot. That's my personal opinion.
290. We got 294 people watching. 100. I don't even know how many likes we got. Hang on. For some reason, it doesn't work. I got to reload it.
I'm looking
We're
at
up to 173.
All right, so if you can smash the like button, we've actually never had 300 concurrent.
Yeah, I know we haven't.
Viewers,
I was just going to say that too. It'd be
we're
nice to get over 300.
Smashing the like button helps. So, if you haven't yet, It's much appreciated. And thank you, everybody. And, we probably have a lot of new people. We just went over 300 for the first time. So thank you
Nice.
very much, everybody who's joined us on the live stream today. And second of all, I hope that means there's 300 people that made some money today because,
Yeah.
this was a money day. So hopefully, if you guys have
Those
been
dirty miners.
if you've
Dirty,
been
filthy
waiting and
miners.
waiting and waiting, and if you made it through, uh, August and September and the first half of October, remember there was 16 or 18
Oh
weeks that
my
were a
God.
nightmare in the middle of this year. And this is to your point, George. Remember how you said they want all your money? That was washing people out, and so many people left. I got a comment. I I'm gonna do for the members only. I've got like 50 or 60 comments I want to show people, but the one that sticks out the most, and this was just like 5 weeks ago. Somebody said, "This video is ridiculous. CleanSpark will be 30 cents within 90 days."
Dude, really? Hey, oh my God. Tom, I got to give you an update on the 10K challenge.
Oh
This
yeah,
10K,
please.
so most people run to the hills. We just stopped talking about it, but we didn't do anything to our 10K challenge. We said we're going to do a 10K challenge. We're going to have it go to $100,000, right? Remember this?
Right. We did a 10K challenge
Yeah.
right before the crypto winter started. And the mistake, if I could just give 20 seconds of lead up, and then
Go ahead. Go ahead.
we did $10,000 up front, and we were not allowed to add any money. So there was no ability to dollar cost average. There was no ability to buy the dip. And, we did take our time and take a few months to buy in. But if you remember 2022, January, February, March was the run up, right? The March 28th, I think Bitcoin got to 48,000. That turned out to be the peak. That was the official start of the crypto winter. So that's the 90 days we bought in our 100K challenge. We weren't allowed to add any money after that.
No.
And so it was catastrophic. So
Oh
tell
my
them what
God,
it
was
got
it
down
bad?
to by the end of the year.
It got down to $1,600, $1,600, and trust me, Tom and Tom's an active trader. He researched everything. He's pulling his hair out, and I said, let's just not talk about it and let's forget about it for a little while. Is that pretty accurate, Tom?
Yes, absolutely.
$1,600. I've made one trade since then. We had something else. We sold it. It is now $7,224, guys. So $7,224. If you would have rode the wave all the way down to the grave and then back up,
So
you're only down $2,800, and I have a feeling that will be gone very soon.
And if you remember, I did say I thought there was a chance we'd get back to 10,000 by the end of the year. We didn't,
Yep.
but that's up
Damn,
451% this
that's
year.
insane. That's
so we
awesome.
just
Isn't
let
that
it
freaking-
sit. We didn't even get to dollar cost average. So for a lot of you, as
Yep.
you know, that's why so many people are so far into the green right now. For the people that walked away, or if you dollar cost averaged all the way down and beyond, most of our members are big time in the green. Drop a comment and let us know. Are you, did you have to deal with the crypto winter, and is your account back to green? Your Bitcoin miners back to green? Are you making money? And I know a lot of you are, because you've already let us know.
Dead money. Yep. Dead money. Tom, look at this poll.
Oh,
76% yes on the 10th for the ETF.
Okay, so confidence is high.
Yes.
3/4, and this is a really good sample size. So 3/4 of the people think we are going to get a Bitcoin ETF on
You want to hear
January 10th.
something funny, guys? Yesterday we had a stream. It was a members only stream. It was probably one of our worst member only streams that we've had in a really long time. Wouldn't you agree, Tom?
I think there was no news. There was really one trading day in between the last time we talked, and so it was a little quiet. It was after the holidays. I think people were worn down a little bit.
And then you look at today, what a freaking change, huh? Watching the market. So now, Tom, a lot of movement in the market. A lot of people have been saying bad things about the market. What do you think overall for the market for 2024? Not financial advice, but I know it's a stab in the dark. What's up?
All right, I'm going to answer that first. Let me just AG, who's been a member for 3 months. Thank you so much for being a member. Has a member comment. You guys are the reason I stayed with the miners, my friends. Coworkers
Nice.
saying it's garbage stock. Those low months were brutal.
They were brutal.
I'm now mortgage free.
All right, brother. That's
AG,
awesome.
congratulations. That is the best news ever.
So
That's
I like
awesome.
I like helping people out. That's the main reason we do this channel.
Yes, that is, and it helps. I appreciate you guys showing up for a live stream and hitting the like button and subscribing. It helps the channel and it helps us do this, and that is, that is our motivation. Obviously, also, I mean, let's be fair. We're all here to try to make money in the market, and that is helping people, and a lot of it is just like, it's the support, and that's why the membership is so nice, and that's why we do both members only and, these public live streams, because being able to be there in the hard times is more. I mean, this is awesome. This is a nice celebration, and I love these, and we should do these, and we take every opportunity. When there's a big update, it's nice to get together and celebrate, because, man, this group has earned this big time. But more importantly, on the down days, weeks, months, having a support group that's, all digging in, doing due diligence. We're not just going on, hope and
Hang on. We're not going on what somebody said on YouTube. I mean, let's be honest, right? I mean, that's the truth.
I watch a lot of YouTubers, and I just see so many. It's funny because I watched a lot of YouTubers talk about Marathon and the Bitcoin miners, and it is interesting the difference between people who don't know. This industry is extremely specific. If you don't know this industry, like, I don't want to say anything negative about any other YouTubers. And as the big YouTubers talk about the Bitcoin miners, it is a good thing for all of us, but you can see their lack of knowledge. A lot of people are just looking at charts and graphs and saying, it hit this number, it's going to that number. And they don't, there's so many intricate details in, with Bitcoin and then the Bitcoin miners. There's so many variables. There's so much going on here that, doing all, and just so you guys know, I mean, my members know, I read every single financial statement, every single quarter from cover to cover. I read every press release. I go through the presentations. I listen to the conference calls. So I try to stay as informed as I possibly can. And the point of this channel is just to pass on the information, right? Everybody's going to do with it what they will, right? We all have different companies that we invest in. Even inside of, I follow 19 Bitcoin miners on the channel, and I know everybody has a different mix. And, a lot of people are successful. The key to all of this, more so, is knowing your company and having conviction. Because if you're in the right companies and you've done your due diligence, regardless of what George says or I say, and a lot of, I know, all right, listen, a lot of people disagree with me. There's no question about it, and that's fine. As long as you're doing your own thing and doing your own due diligence and working your plan, then you've been making money in a big, big way over the last few months. This is without a doubt, and I challenge the entire internet. This is the best industry in the entire market in the year 2023. And what I mean by that is, taking every single member of this industry, I follow 19 of these. The 19 that I follow aren't 100%, but by market cap, they're probably, 96, 97, 98% of the industry. And, this industry's pushing, we're getting close to up 500% as an industry this year. Show me an industry from top to bottom that on the average is up, 400 or 500% in 1 year. Now, we got devastated last year, so it goes both ways. These are leveraged plays. This is what these things can do, and that's what we've talked about. Sorry, the real Gary Ginsler, thanks so much for the super chat. The real Gary Ginsler said, recap, before this run, I don't remember that many positive people on Bitcoin and the miners. Times have changed. Let's go. Mortgage free. Congrats, man. Yes, that is totally awesome. And you're right. It's like, What voice was out there talking about the Bitcoin miners 6 months ago, a year ago, year and a half? And I know there are 3 or 4 other people that are very dedicated to this as well. So, congratulations to them. They're whether they be on Twitter or X or here on YouTube. There's a select few people that really have done their work and know what's going on in here and tried to spread the information to everybody.
I'm
And
gonna. I'm. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, George.
I'm gonna answer Michael's question. Tom works a full-time job. I work a full-time job. We are doing this as a hobby because you cannot make a living right now off of YouTube because they have destroyed the analytics of payouts for YouTube. So that's why he's not on during when the market opens in the morning. We thought we'd be at like 100,000 subs by now.
Right, we're a
And
very small channel. We've
yeah,
been
very,
very
very
slow to
small.
grow,
Yep.
so I appreciate. That's why we ask, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It does help get more subscribers. It's the YouTube algorithm, blah blah blah. I know you guys know this, but we still remain after 3 years a very small channel proportional to, and like George said, as a small channel, it's a we could buy ourselves a nice dinner once or twice a month with the money that we
So,
make.
but I'm thinking I should start standing on my head or start doing drugs or get a prostitute or something like that, and
What does
go
that
cheat.
mean?
Because there's other people on on the YouTube and they do really well. They do all that stuff.
Oh,
You know what
they're
I mean?
yeah,
I'm
since
not naming names. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. So
for
Tom, do you think in 2024, seriously no, 2024, do you think that this is going to be one of the best industries going forward? Or do you think that it's all behind us?
no, I think that in 2024 this will still be among one of the best industries in the market. Now, after a year where on the average we're up 400 or 500%, I don't know that we're going to duplicate that results again in 2024 and then again in 2025, but I do think there's monumental runs ahead. So I do think this is still going to be, one of the best industries in the stock market in 2024. Just, I
Okay.
mean, if we follow the 4 year cycle, and there's no saying that we will, right? There's several cycles at work here, but I'm speaking specifically of the 4 year Bitcoin cycle. A lot of other things, as I know a lot of you guys know, are lining up with this 4 year Bitcoin cycle, whether it's a coincidence or, all these things are related. This is starting to, I hate to use the perfect storm because that's a very overused term, but everything is aligning very nicely for this cycle to be better than the last cycle. Last cycle was the least move to the upside, and it was I mean, some of these miners 100x'd in the last cycle. So I'm not saying it was a bad cycle, uh, and I don't know. I think Bitcoin is set to do better. We're way ahead of where we were the last time. And I don't think that's random or a coincidence. I think there was a reason we lagged a little behind in the last cycle, right? We had a global event that kind of changed things. The halving was in May of 2020. So obviously, there was a gigantic crash rate before that that was outside of anything that had anything to do with Bitcoin or anything else. So, that changed the trajectory a little bit. But there have been, the adoption between then and now has been monumental. And with the Bitcoin spot ETFs coming, and I am now getting more and more convinced. I'll end this poll and start another one. We're at 75-25. So that's 3/4 of us think January 10th. I have been extremely, extremely skeptical. My perspective, I've been consistently saying, I don't know about January 10th. I do feel very confident we will get one before the halving. But, I was not sure about this January 10th, and I'm still not sure. But, some of the things that are going on, I'm starting to get convinced that they're looking to, get as many of these approved simultaneously as they can. And January 10th stands a good shot of being that date. The other skeptical part of me is the market very rarely does, when everybody lines up and expects the same exact thing to happen, that's usually not what happens. And it doesn't mean it's completely wrong. It's a lot of times just a timing thing. So, if we don't get our spot ETF on the 10th, are we going to have maybe a pullback for a little while? And, to me, if we do, again, that's going to be a buying opportunity in my opinion. So I'll be averaging in if that happens. But more and more, it does look like everything does seem to be lining up for this ETF on January 10th or sometime shortly thereafter. So only time will tell.
So do you think, Tom, when that happens, do you think there's going to be a big push on the price of Bitcoin almost immediately?
I don't. I don't necessarily think that there's automatically going to be, to the moon on that day. I think that we're going to go. That day is going to be extremely interesting, and I'll get to 2 super chats. Thank you guys in advance, and I'll get to them in a minute. That day is going to be very interesting because the nature of a spot Bitcoin ETF, as you guys know, is that as money goes into these ETFs, they are required to buy the underlying asset, which obviously in this case is Bitcoin. So the all right, pressure, the demand pressure on Bitcoin is going to increase on a persistent basis, basically from that day forward. So I think these are monumentally huge events, but it's not like it's not like they're all going to go out and buy all the Bitcoin on day one, right? Let's say BlackRock a year and a half from now has, $50 billion invested in Bitcoin. Well, they're not going to do that, on January 11th. So the actual effect of the ETF is going to be a catalyst for Bitcoin every single day, really, from that day forward. But the event, the news itself, I don't know, if people will, sometimes it's always a gamble as to whether it's a sell the news. And we talked about this on the live stream. When I say sell the news, I'm talking about very short term. So, I don't think the run up has happened and it's priced in and, it's downhill from there. If there's a pullback, if there's a sell the news, it's going to be a knee jerk type of thing that lasts days or weeks, in my opinion, and it will be an opportunity to buy in. But there is the other chance that it just immediately starts to run. The couple of reasons I think there's a chance for a pullback is we're incredibly overdue for a pullback in Bitcoin. So, I'm trying to, and I still, I'm still putting a lot of thought into this. I am trying to prepare for both what to do on the upside and the downside. I'm pretty much a buy and hold, but I would like to create some options. And I mean that literally, like I want to buy, some puts. I will not, just so that you guys know, let me take a time out and I'm going to get back to that. I just want to address a couple of super chats. Thank you very much, Anthony, for the super chat. Did you ever do a deep dive in InvestView? So I did start my InvestView deep dive. I thought there was going to be 7 or 8 other companies that I really hadn't dove into yet. And that was one of only that, what is it? Cathedral. I'm saying the wrong name. Those 2 I picked first, that are smaller companies. And that was smaller than I remembered. But yes, I have done that, and there's a couple, and that's one of them that I'm going to add to the list. So, maybe in a members section we can dig more into that, or I don't know how much interest the world has in that. I'll just pull it up for a minute to show what Anthony's talking about, because he's been answering me, and for a couple of weeks I forgot, but this week I did go jump in and start doing my research on that.
Well, Tom, I'm going to tell you, I completely disagree with what you just said. I don't see a pullback, and here's why, and this is what everybody's forgetting. You know what that is?
What?
Retail. 2 things. If you think you can't affect the price of Bitcoin, you're wrong. You can. You want to know how you do that? By getting your coins off of the exchanges. I know I sit there, and this is all I always say. I've said it all year long. Get your coins off of the exchanges. Because if you do that, they can't use them to swap out for other purchases. And that's huge.
Right.
Huge.
It's a double. George, that is the absolute. First, let me say thank you, MinerDoc, for your super chat. Much appreciated. I just wanted to get to that. But George, you're right. That's the last piece of this equation. What are the retail investors going to do? Because we are greater in number than people realize. There's an awful lot of retail money on the sidelines. And if retail investors jump in on that news, and I suspect you might be right, George, that could be an immediate giant move to the upside. And that's
Yes.
why I'm so conflicted and I'm trying to make a plan either way, because either way, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. So, whichever way that goes in the, 1 or 2 days or 1 or 2 weeks, I'm extremely bullish on Bitcoin in 2024. It won't change my mind either way. I think 2024 is going to be a big year for Bitcoin and a really good year for the right Bitcoin miners. I will still say I think there's going to be winners and losers, despite the fact that over the last 30 days, it's just been all winners, all winners. But I don't think that's going to persist all the way through. The halving is going to change the game for some of these companies, in my opinion. I'm making that list of companies. I still do think there's some companies that will not make it. Some of them are running to the moon right now. One of them
So
that I would really love to buy some puts on does not have options. So
yeah, we
you,
we
you
were looking, guys. We were looking. We were definitely looking. And remember, um, if you haven't ever heard of us, we're talking investing. Tom is the man. I'm just the guy helping him out. But do me a favor and subscribe, because there's be some interesting videos that Tom's going to do to talk about Bitcoin miners and what is the upsides of Bitcoin mining and why it's such a great platform, Bitcoin overall, and people still don't understand it. If you guys are here, did you know that we're less than, what is it? I think they said 5% of the whole world population knows about cryptocurrency.
knows about or is invested in.
I think knows about. I don't even think it's invested in. I think it's like less than 2% of people actually invested in cryptocurrency.
Well, and to your point, George, and I make a point every time I meet somebody, I ask them, like, hey, you know
Nobody
about
does. Yeah.
Bitcoin? Most of the time they're like, yeah, I heard of that.
Right.
Like, well, what is it? Like, they don't know what it is. They don't know, to invest in it. So yes, we're super, super early on all of this. So, and this is a new asset class
Dude,
that's being formed before our eyes.
this is so great. And Pat, thank you for this information, but I have to read this, Tom. Thank you so much for the insight. My son and I sold CleanSpark today, waiting for a pullback. We made almost 300K in 2 weeks. Well, congratulations.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Congratulations. That is listen, for most people, and there may be a few people on here, that have incredible amounts of money. But even you guys can recognize, for most people, that is game changing, life changing
Yeah,
money. And these
yeah.
opportunities are few and far between. So,
I,
I,
I had a story, Tom. I had a story, I I never got permission to share the story, but I try to talk to you guys through Discord. We have a Discord channel that is, about, I don't know, 1,200 members, I think, on it. Um, I'll put it up after this. But I had a conversation with somebody that, you know, they don't want to tell you their name or anything like that, but they're up almost seven figures. And this isn't somebody that, it's like he said, he shouldn't have that kind of money. They shouldn't have it, you know what I mean? And this is a single mom, life-changing money for her. And it's just so great to hear, because, it was such a hard year, and it's so aggravating to see all the stuff they put us through. And they really do put us through a lot of aggravation.
yeah, it's not an accident. It's not a coincidence. I mean, let me just quickly say thank you, Clive, for the super chat. Much appreciated. Clive said we should seize opportunities when the market is bad. So, I don't know if you were on this page, but yes, Clive, that's my. I'm not hoping for a pullback at. I'm not hoping it's a sell the news. First of all, we don't even know that we're going to get our ETF, our spot ETF on January 10th. But in the event that it is, I do red days. I've really grown more and more accustomed to. I'm not gonna say looking forward to, but I enjoy the red days.
I love them now. And I
It's
used to hate them.
right when you're in the middle of a crypto winter and it's another red day, it's demoralizing. But we're in a better position now, a lot of us, and for those of you, I'm not wishing any red days on anybody. I hope all these go straight to the moon. But the reality is we are in a volatile asset. It's one of the main things that we say on this channel. You know, sometimes I get criticized in the comment section. You don't have to keep saying that, but it's like it's we've lived it. The volatility on here, just to remind everybody, or for those of you who don't know, in the crypto winter, every single Bitcoin miner that we follow, and it wasn't 19 because some of them came into existence or went public subsequent to that, but every single Bitcoin miner, the best performing Bitcoin miner at the bottom of the crypto winter was down 91%. That was the best performing Bitcoin miner. Several of them were down over 99%. So, you know, you would think as an industry that it's game over, they're all going to zero, and this thing is done. But, you know, having done the research and understanding the, you know, nature of the cycle, that was not the case. So, you know, my point is that's volatility. Down 91%, that's volatility. If you can stomach that, then you get, you know, I'm going to show you some charts later that are staggering. You know, you get the other side of this. I'll give you one right now. Core Scientific is up 1,600% this year. By the way, that's before this week. It's probably, no, it's definitely over 2,000 now. So that's a 20x this year. And we haven't even gotten to the run yet, right? This is a nice run. Bitcoin had a phenomenal year. 2023 was a great year for Bitcoin, up over 160%. And you're going to see the Bitcoin miners behaved by the end of the year, all in, very well. But this isn't even usually where the big run is. At this point in the previous cycle, every single Bitcoin mining company was still a penny stock. Most of them were trading under $1, and nobody had gotten even begun to buy into these stocks yet. So we're way ahead of where we were the last time around. And more to come. That doesn't mean we're done, because we're still, none of these stocks are back to where they were in the last cycle. So there's in my opinion, obviously, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. If you are bullish on Bitcoin and you think these cycles will at least be similar, then, the good part is still ahead. Be highly, buy some Bitcoin. Thank you for the super chat, sir. And he said, buy some Bitcoin. Happy holidays. Yes, happy holidays to everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed their holiday season. And obviously, we got New Year's ahead in the U.S. Monday. The market is closed. Bitcoin never closes. But
Did you see what Bitcoin's doing right now, by the way, Tom?
Oh, I should be on the chart.
Yeah, you should probably be on the chart.
Oh, as usual, this is starting to be a new thing. We've had some streams lately in a row where Bitcoin's run. So I left this.
I'm very happy about that, by the way.
I left this line. You're going to see in a dotted line. This line down here is where Bitcoin was when the U.S. equity markets closed yesterday. So you can see we had a very nice run up. But I left this line on here and changed it to a dotted line. This is where Bitcoin was when the markets closed on Friday. So Monday was a holiday. We've had Tuesday and Wednesday, 2 trading days later. So look at the volatility even in this, all of this gigantic run up. This candle wick just crossed the line of where we were when the U.S. equity markets closed on Friday. So this is I'm going to go to the 1 day and you'll see it better. We're just very, very, very sideways right now. But typically when Bitcoin is sideways like this, and there's no guarantee, it could break in either direction, but these are oftentimes, these consolidation periods lead to the next run up. And I will point to this one, and we talked about it as it was happening. I have a purple line at 37,885. That was the daily candle close on November 15th. We went sideways and, candle wicked above that, bumped into it for several weeks. It wasn't that long. And then on December 1st, we broke to the upside. So that was a very short period of consolidation. This one's a little bit longer, but you can see, right, we're in. Let me see if I know how to use this thing, because I don't think so.
Is this thing on?
Work. All this for really nothing. you can see we're in a very tight little window here. We've been trading inside of this for coming up on 3 weeks now, and 3 or 4 weeks is no big deal. Remember this, and this is bumping into resistance. So that's why I say I feel like the next move is up. And to me, I have been saying all along, in March, I think it was March 28th of 2022, this green line right here, we got to 48,240. So if I go back in time, so this was March 28th, 2022. We got to 48,000, and you can see that was on the way down. This was the last hurrah. We had this run up. We got down to, 33,000. Then we ran up $15,000 up to 48. That was it. That was from there on, we were in a crypto winter from that moment forward. So we're almost all the way back to where we were. That's that's just not even back to step one. And to get from here to there, so that's why, I've left this line on since, this line's been on here for much more than a year and a half. And now, we're very close. We're
what amount of money is that at? What's that number at?
$48,240. So we're just under 11% away from that right now. So
Nice.
it's my opinion. I think that's the next move up. I think the next move is up, and I think it's to 48,000. I think we'll retest this. There'll probably be some amount of resistance, although I will tell you, this run has been vicious, and Bitcoin's blown through a lot of what would ordinarily be, some reasonable lines of resistance. It's just been blowing through. So we'll see what happens. I always like to end this by saying, there's the other side of this equation. I've got a line down here at 30. The line we just talked about that was resistance.
I'm making cookies. Hang on.
It is more common than not to go test former lines of resistance and turn them into lines of support. We have not done that. Bitcoin has not done that really since 25,000. It's just been up, 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 up. That's why I say, the potential exists. So I still look at this. That would be a 13% move to the downside. I'm just not expecting that. It looks like we avoided that, in my opinion, but I can't dismiss it. I do think it's important to always look at the upside and the downside of what could happen. So to me, if we retest a line, I think we'll find support here. That's our next line. I think we would catch ourselves here if we go the wrong way. Maybe if we don't get our ETF on the 10th, maybe we have a little run down. Otherwise, I do think it's 48,000. And, if the ETF is a catalyst bigger than I'm expecting, maybe we blow right through this. I don't know, because, George did bring up a very important point. There's a lot of retail money, and I think a lot of people are looking at this. So we'll see. That could go either way. Let's get a poll up. Just 1 second while I'm typing. Okay, so the next thing I'm interested to see on what your thoughts are. Are we going to get to a new all-time high by the halving? So the halving is going to be in April. I think we're 130 days away from the halving or something like that. The previous all-time high was at 69,000. That was, I think, November 8th of 2021. So, that was over 2 years ago. And by the halving, that'll be 2.5 years. So, for perspective, in the previous 3 cycles, we've never gotten back to an all-time high before the halving. And I say that not to say that it's not going to happen this time. I say that because I actually think there's a pretty good chance of this. And it goes to my point that I think this cycle is ahead of previous cycles. And I think that there's, you know, I think we stand a very good chance of getting to that high sooner than we ever have in the past. A lot of these, remember, we've only had 3 cycles. So there's a lot of these rules with Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin never does this in a 4-year cycle. Bitcoin never does that in a 4-year cycle. Well, the thing is, there's only been 3 of them. So that all that means is that it's 3 for 3. And I will tell you, in this last cycle, about half of those rules were broken. So the cycles are still fairly similar, but all these hard and fast rules, I don't lend too much credence to them because we have a tiny sample group, and with everything that's happening, and we've only talked about one catalyst. There's a few other catalysts that ultimately in 2024 I think are just as big, in the short term, reasons that Bitcoin is, in my opinion, will run big in 2024. Typically, if everything followed along, we would get to not breaking the old all-time high, but to the peak of this new cycle would be somewhere, it after the middle of 2025. So that leaves an awful long time for room to run to the upside. So the first question would be, can we get back to, we were at 69,000. Can we get to 70,000 by the halving? That will be a challenge, right? There's not a lot of time between now and then, but I do think that that possibility exists.
So Tom, after the halving, do you think Bitcoin will ever go back to like numbers that we're at right now?
Down to the 40s?
Well, how about the 30s, like 38?
I think we stand a chance of retesting 38 between now and sometime in the near future, but no, by the halving and beyond, that's when Bitcoin typically runs. So by the time we have a significant pullback, I think we're going to be so much higher than that no, I think this is last call. I think we could get back to whatever number, if we have a retest, whatever number we retest, I think it's likely we'll never see that number again. Just like all of the previous cycles. So, I just got through saying, those rules aren't made in stone, but, that's one of them. Let me get to a couple of super chats. Garrett's Investment Company, thank you for the super chat. BKKT, the only company preparing for the global one world currency system to come. I hope you do a video on them soon, Tom. Bitcoin is the one. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Wasn't that the company that's in Alpharetta, Georgia?
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that.
It was. I remember this.
I just wrote that note down, so
sorry, Edmund.
that is already on I have a second watch list of crypto related companies. So this is something I've had my eye on, but I have not done a deep dive on it. So I'll take a closer look and see, if it's something that the investment community would be interested in a deep dive on. Thank you for the recommendation and for the super chat. Much appreciated. RP, thank you for the super chat. Thoughts on Cypher warrants, now up a lot in the last weeks. My only concern with Cypher, and I don't have the warrants, but I do have an option. I have a Cypher $3 option that expires March 15th. And I'm going to hold it because Cypher has had, let's pull up the chart.
You guys are so funny. It's like we have 2 conversations or even 3 or 4.
So, see, a day like today is funny with Cypher. This looks like a horrible red candle, but I mean, you got to realize Cypher gapped up at the open. So it did finish only up 5.8%. I say only because that was one of the worst performing Bitcoin mining stocks on the day. It might have been the worst performing Bitcoin out of the 19 that I follow. But at one point, it was up significantly more than that. And this run from December 13th, I mean, it's December 27th right now. That's 2 weeks ago. You know, from the bottom to the top, this was 143% run. To the close today, it's 130% run. And the other thing about Cypher is I'm going to go get their market cap because
Wow.
this is a $1.35 billion market cap. So this is a member of the $1 billion club that we talked about a few streams ago. For perspective, let me see if I happen to have this chart open. So at the beginning, this is back in February. So going back in time to February 10th. As of February 10th, and Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners had already had a really nice run. January was one of the best months of the year for Bitcoin miners. These were the market caps of the Bitcoin miners as of February 10th of 2023 this year. The biggest market cap in the entire group was $922 million. That was Riot. Marathon was at $692 million. To put it in perspective, Marathon went past $6 billion today in market cap. So that is what has happened to this group. So there were exactly 0 members of the $1 billion club, meaning the market cap was $1 billion or greater. And now there are 5 or 6, and there's going to be 7 or 8 if this week didn't already put them there.
Tom, was the whole industry less than 6 billion?
Yes.
Yes, I was going to say I think it was.
Yes. So remember, this already represents a big run up. So this is even much higher than it was 6 weeks earlier. So yes, there was a point where all the Bitcoin miners put together were about $4 billion. So right now, Marathon's over $6 billion. And this is the same year, right? We're still in the same year. So that's the kind of run these companies have made. Now, the stocks don't go up 1-to-1 with the market caps, obviously. This is a very capital-intensive industry. There is stock dilution pretty much across the board. So, I don't get too worked up about it as long as it's productive. I did actually not like a move that Marathon made that was some stock dilution, but I won't harp on that. I went through that a couple of times in detail, and I will just say I'm going to assume that Fred and management has some information that I probably don't have, and that move's ultimately going to make a lot more sense when it's all said and done with. They converted a lot of their convertible debt. They had 1% convertible debt, so 1% interest, 0 principal due for, at that time, 3 years and 3 months. So to me, that was probably that rivals the best debt on anybody's balance sheet in the entire stock market. So, they converted a lot of that. And
yeah, but I think their hands were tied. I think they went to a lot of different companies to raise money, a lot of different banks, hedge funds, and they say, well, we don't like this.
But they don't have to do that. They don't have to go borrow any money from anybody. They're right. They have an at the market shelf offering, and they can get money, that way. And now, especially as a $6 billion, listen, I'm not going to, whatever I think of that, it worked for them because
it worked. I was just going to say.
Right. So you can forget whatever I think because here's what Marathon's done. Right.
Dude, these guys are talking about me lifting weight on the when we do the halving 405. I probably could do 315 like for a whole bunch, but I don't think I can do 405. That'd be a lot. I'm not ready.
You're not
I just don't
ready?
want to hurt. I don't want to hurt myself too. I hurt myself here recently on my leg, and it sucks when you're old. It takes forever to heal.
Oh, are we going to do some reps on the stream?
Yeah, that's what they're
How about
saying.
if George does 5 or 10 reps of 315 pounds instead of the extra weight that might hurt his shoulder?
I think 315 is okay. We could probably do it at Planet Fitness. LA Fitness doesn't like it when you film inside, because I try to always film all the girls. Oh, sorry, wrong chat.
Great, very nice.
Oh God.
Ross said 315 for 10. You rock, George. Yeah,
I
George.
could probably get 8 right now. I don't know if I could get 10. I could get 8. I couldn't
Well,
do
you
10.
got a couple 3 weeks. Get yourself back to 10. I've seen you
Wow.
do multiple sets of 10 reps at 315. So you take some
Wow.
time off.
You realize we're talking chest, right? And you realize 315's 3 plates, right?
Do I realize that? Who spotted
Yes.
you more than anyone in your life?
You.
Yes, I realize that. All right, Kelvin's
Sorry.
saying you need to put up 455 at the peak of the Bitcoin bull run. That's
Oh my goodness.
all
That would
those
be
pounds get a lot heavier on the, your joints and ligaments and all that kind of stuff. Everything over, 400, 450, 500, it just starts to hurt your body. I'm not speaking from experience. I
Oh, also, if you're in the Discord, I've been getting different people that say they're Tom inviting me. It's not Tom. I can guarantee you it's not Tom. Because, like, half of the time I'm talking to Tom when these guys are texting me. So, FYI, if you're trying to be Tom,
One
you're
time
not.
we were on a live stream
Yeah.
together and somebody was contacting you saying they were me trying to get you to.
Yeah.
So, yes, please. I'm sure you've heard this from all the YouTubers. I don't know, somebody has a lot of free time or maybe it's all automated, but there's an awful lot of people out there that are pretending to be me along with, I'm sure, 1,000 other YouTubers. So, if anybody's asking you to give them anything, we don't do any of that. We have a membership for $5 a month. It's through YouTube, a trusted partner, so that nobody has to worry. And that's the only thing we do. So we've had some
So,
requests for some merch.
we
But
have this crazy day after today, Tom. Tell me what you would do tomorrow. Are you going to buy anything? Are you going to sell anything? What are you thinking?
I will not be selling anything. I sold, so that you guys know, I did set myself up when we had a little dip. I bought a bunch of call options and we've had a huge run up. So the only call options I have left are my Cypher March $3 call options. I've sold all the rest and took profits. So that's some of what I try to do. And now, I'm looking at the other side. Maybe do I need to buy some puts? I don't spend a massive amount of money on it, but it's some protection in one direction or the other. And we are very overbought. I will not be selling any of my stock tomorrow. That is for sure. If tomorrow's a red day, so we used to have some of these where, we'd have the greenest day ever, maybe 2 or 3 in a row, and then a giant red day. So I don't even want to jinx it and say that, but, that was a pretty common occurrence. And it was not to worry because typically they'd be followed by, a bunch of green days after that. So to me, those were always buying opportunities. If for some reason a couple of my stocks present a buying opportunity tomorrow, if they dip, I'll tell you, I'm not done buying Hive. Right? That
You're
was the
not.
last one I started buying, and I'm not done. So, I prefer
Well,
to buy it on the dip.
where do you start saying Hive is overbought at what level?
I mean, I
It's 586 after hours right now.
it's 586 after hours. I'll probably buy in up, average in at least up to $8
Oh wow.
and then let it run. So that's me. That's what I
What
think.
has changed your mind about Hive? What has made you so gung ho on Hive all of a sudden?
5 things, 4 of which were press releases. And then from those 4 press releases, I did another deep dive and just went through the whole thing from soup to nuts. Hive's done this a little bit differently. They did not have the giant splash press release that a lot of these other Bitcoin miners did. For instance, one of my highest conviction plays is Bitfarms. They came out and basically said, we're going to get, they're at at the time they were at 6.3 exahash. They said we're going to get to 12 exahash and then 17 exahash, all of which in 2024. And oh, by the way, while we do that, we're basically going to swap out almost every single machine in the fleet with the latest and greatest, not the XPs. They have no XPs. They skipped that generation. They told us they were going to do that. They went to the T21s for the most part. So, that one was an easy one. It was a gigantic press release. It was an absolute, they were a fundamentally different company after that press release than before. Now, you guys know that follow me. I called that. A week and a half before that, they went out and did a stock dilution, a private offering, and the stock sold off. And I bought in one last time. I got a nice buying opportunity because they had already told us on their quarterly earnings call and in their monthly operational report that they intended to skip the XPs and go buy the 21s. So there was, when they tell you that twice and then they go raise a bunch of money, what do you think they're going to do with it? So, but like I said, we know that, the people here, but the market overall doesn't know that. And the market tends to sell off when a company goes and does some dilution. Oftentimes that is a sell off. And if you know your company and you know what they're going to do with it, and that's going to add value to the company, then those are some of the best buying opportunities. Those are some of my favorite buying opportunities of all time. And it's almost without fail that a company borrows money, dilutes and gets equity money, and the stock plummets. So there's oftentimes where they'll raise money, and not only will the stock price go down, the market cap will shrink. Now figure that out. How can you go get $100 million and be worth less overall in market cap? Now, there's an answer to that. If you think management's awful and they're going to do, bad things, i.e. not help the company with that money, then, that would be a reason. But, I think I'm a fan of Bitfarms management. I knew what they were going to do because they already told me what they were going to do. So my point is, that was a gigantic press release. Marathon had a gigantic press release. Riot had a gigantic press release. Iris Energy had a gigantic press release. We've had a series of some of the biggest press releases over the last, 45 days. And it was a long time coming because through the crypto winter, most of these companies got small. I won't say they hibernated. They were still mining and still growing, but at a much smaller pace. And most of that growth was just receiving the Bitcoin miners they had ordered in the previous bull market and, getting up to the exahash they'd already bought. Well, now we've got the next round of purchases. Hive did something different. They were buying 1 exahash at a time. So, they bought 5,000 machines. They bought another 5,000 machines. And then they bought another 5,000 machines. They have an AI piece of the puzzle that they're getting up and running. Now, I am a little skeptical on all these companies with it's the high performance computing stuff. I think it's the H100 NVIDIA chips, which, those things are $30,000 a piece. They do things that really no other chip does. And they talked about their trajectory of the revenue that they expect to get from that, and it's high gross profit margin stuff. So we will see. They need to execute on all that. But with all that put together, and inside of all that, they did talk about the fact that they're going to swap out a lot of their existing machines. They had a very aging fleet. So, before all those press releases, as they were sitting there, not giving us any information, and conversely, they went 2 months for the first time ever. They did not tell us what their HODL position was. So after, they were, I'll call them a second tier hodler. They had a strong HODL balance, not like, Marathon has 14,000, Riot has Hut has over 9,000, Riot has over 7,000. They're in a league of their own. But there was another group, and Hive was kind of in the lead. They were at about 2,500 Bitcoin. Well, they stopped telling us how many they had for 2 straight months. So that I lost a lot of confidence. I would rather they told me. Now, when they finally did tell us, they had about 1,600 Bitcoin. So they used some of their Bitcoin. I'd rather just tell me, you know what, we used 400 Bitcoin to, grow operations, whatever the case may be. So now that I know their HODL position, and, now that I see that they plan on, they've made purchase orders to increase their exahash, and they've gone and let us know that they're going to hodl all the Bitcoin that they mine between now and the halving and get back to a bigger hodl position than they've ever had. So that's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. Obviously there's more than
What
that, but those are the highlights.
what's going to be their exahash at halving? What is
They
it planned to be?
they mentioned 6 exahash and 8 exahash. So I will tell you, this is another thing. There are several of these Bitcoin mining companies who I feel like they could use some help in communicating. So they're going to need to elaborate. They used both of those numbers. So I think they're looking at getting to 8 exahash. I don't know if 6 is a step along the way. So they're not going to be one of the gigantic Bitcoin miners, but I've been saying since like February of 2022, I've been saying I think everybody needs to get to 8 exahash by the halving. That was just, that was my gut sense. And that doesn't mean, if somebody gets to 7, it doesn't mean they're going out of business. And if somebody's at 3 or 4, it doesn't mean they're going out of business. It just means I don't think that they're going to be one of the stocks that 10x's or 20x's or 30x's or competes, to be a top 10 Bitcoin miner going forward from that point. There's going to be about 10 companies that are of that size. So, and that doesn't mean that's the only way you can make money. Some of the smaller, go ahead,
Do you
George.
think we could have another day like we had today, tomorrow?
I would say no to that, except it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, these things are, let me show a couple of charts. This is a good time with that question to show a few charts that I just put together on what's happened in the last very short period of time.
As you do that, if we could get 5 more likes, we would really appreciate it. That would be the best we've ever done on a live stream. That would be 300 likes. Thank you so much for liking the stream.
Point, George. Thank you. Smash the like button. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel if you're enjoying this live stream. And you can check out our content. We've done deep dives on, most of the top 10 Bitcoin miners. We have done multiple deep dives. I will be doing so again in January. Also, stay tuned. And in one of the first few days of January, I will do, just like I did last year, my top 10 list of Bitcoin miners for 2024. I'll tell you the results of what happened to my top 10. And actually in 2023, I did a top 8. I felt strongly about 8 of them. And so I'll let you know what happened to those. And then I'll give you my top 10 for 2024. And I'm also going to give you my bottom 5. I do have 5 that I'm concerned about. So, those are a couple of videos that will be coming in the first week of January. We're going to get a lot of information about the Bitcoin miners in January. I'm also expecting to see, despite the fact that actually, this is our December, so we got 31 days. I'm expecting to see, I would say, at least 75% of the Bitcoin miners have the best Bitcoin mining month they've ever had in this month of December that's about to end.
Tom, we need to remember Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
Where they start banging on their chest? We got to start doing that.
What we need to pick something else. What's our
Why?
What? That one's somebody else already has that one.
Who cares? That's awesome. Who cares? I don't care.
It just feels good.
Ooh. Sorry.
All right, this is a chart. Let me show you these couple of charts. I'm sure you guys have taken a look. So on the screen, so I said Monday and Tuesday, but it's Tuesday and Wednesday. Monday was Christmas.
3:15, Tom. Sorry, go on. Thank you, guys.
I'm getting rid of this because it's fake news. It's faulty information. This is the last 2 days, the 26th and the 27th, yesterday and today. This is what the Bitcoin miners have done in the last 2 days. While Bitcoin's up 0%, right? We just looked at the chart. In after hours, it just candlewicked up back to where it was last Friday. So Bitcoin's up 0%. Mawson's up 87% in the last 2 days. Core Scientific, 49%. Gree, 40%. I mean, look, find your Bitcoin miner, right? This is one of my top 3 positions. Riot's up 5%. This is the worst performer. But it's up 5% while Bitcoin's up 0%. So, and also, it did allow me, as I said earlier, I did buy some yesterday and I bought some more today. So we'll see. We'll see if that pays off.
Have you
And
gone over the amount of money you planned on putting into Bitcoin miners?
oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I did. I've gone past, and for that reason, at some point, I will take some profits. So I am a buy and hold. So I let everybody know I will hold these positions through the halving, through the peak of the Bitcoin, cycle if it plays out that way. I will take profits. Most of the profits that I plan on taking are going to be somewhere, probably at least a year, somewhere between 12 and 18 months from now. But in the middle, I will take some money off the table because, like George just mentioned, and I've said many times on the channel, I built these positions out a lot more than I intended to because the buying opportunities just persisted. It was unbelievable. They just, they kept, just for instance, I bought some CleanSpark for like $1.08 like a few weeks ago.
Not
Right?
CleanSpark,
I'm sorry, Bitfarms.
Bitfarms.
Right. And they're, they were pushing $3.50 today. So,
Nice little double.
and even with CleanSpark, I went way past. I was buying CleanSpark in the threes just 2 months ago. Right. So, I did not intend to still be adding to that position. But for as long as they were presenting these opportunities, it made sense to me. So, and that's not for everybody. And I have more Bitcoin miners in my portfolio than probably most people should. But, also I've done quite
You
literally
got
probably four or 5,000 hours of research on these companies.
you
So
got about 5 mil in there.
give or take some millions of dollars. And it's still not the majority of I don't think anybody should go all in on anything. I'm way past where I thought I would be and where I intended to be, but I'm glad about it. I think it's going to pay off, but I will start to trim some of these positions as they run, and they've been running. So, but even after the halving, even after I've taken some solid profits, 12 to 18 months from now, I'm not dumping all these positions. I'll keep them because, they're going to come around the next time. So I know you could try to
Interesting.
time it and dump everything and wait for the crypto winter, but that's. Oh, you're welcome. This too shall pass. This just caught my eye. Thanks for going over Hive, Tom. You're welcome. I know I haven't done a Hive video because there doesn't seem to be a lot of interest, but I do get, I know there's a group out there that is interested in Hive, and so I did do a pretty deep dive.
Well, just now you did a deep dive. What
That
is
was
going on with
Those were
Wolf?
the Cliffs Notes.
Unbelievable. Wolf is up 11% after hours right now.
Wow. Yeah,
Almost 12%.
I you know, I think it's our stream. We just
I do
talked
too.
about how they solved their debt problem, so they're running. I'm kidding because we are
Just so you
well
know,
aware of
when
the fact that we're
when
a
we
tiny
see these
channel.
guys, when we see these guys at the if we go to the Bitcoin conference, I'm at least expecting dinner. I'm just telling them no.
You can expect whatever you want.
I might
What you
even
get,
demand. Demand.
you demand dinner.
Go up to, hey, you taking me to dinner? Who are you? I work with Tom. Sorry.
Who's Tom? So this is the last 2 days. All right. So Moss is up 87%. You can see, 30s, 40s in 2 days. But then go to last week, and I called this a 7-day chart, but I'm wrong because there was a holiday. This is the last 6 trading days. This is the last 6 trading days. This looks like a year. This looks like a year for an industry that had one of the great years of all time. But it's not a year. I'm fixing it right now. It's 6 days. Mawson's up 265% in the last 6 days. Any is up 182%. There's your short squeeze, George, that you've been calling. 182% in 6 days. Core Scientific, 169%. Stronghold, 126%. So other than Core Scientific, these were 3 of the 4 most underperforming Bitcoin miners on the year. And they're nano cap, now maybe micro cap stocks. But Cypher, is in the $1 billion club. They were up over 100% in 6 days. HUT was up 73% in 6 days. Marathon, the largest by, market cap and production, 70% in 6 days. I mean, look at these results. There were 3 that clearly lagged. CleanSpark, Bitfarms, and Riot. What do these 3 have in common? I own all 3 of them. Having said that, we talked a lot on this channel. Bitfarms and CleanSpark ran way, way out ahead of the pack. And, they were decimating everybody. And so now, in this 6-day period, they have lagged behind, and the rest of these are starting to catch up. Most of these still haven't even caught up to Bitfarms and CleanSpark, but they're no longer 1 and 2. They were the number 1 and 2 performers over a 15-week period. That's not true anymore. A bunch of them have caught up, and you can see this chart will show you that. And then Riot's just simply lagging.
So you think Riot's going to explode any day now?
I think Riot is due for a big run up. When it happens, we'll see when it happens. I think they need to come out and give the next update.
They're going to rotate out, like maybe one of the other companies. Probably into Riot.
I am concerned, that some of these small caps.
Looking at that list, do you think how many right there are overbought? All of them or no?
There's some companies on the top half of this list that I think are going out of business. Let's put it that way. So, if you're going out of business, then going up 126% in 6 days, then obviously, in my opinion, they are overbought.
Tom,
and overvalued.
With that being said, how do you make that decision? Will you start looking at the quarter results and start saying more about them as time goes on? Probably good reason to subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, I mean, we dig into these. We do operational update. The beauty about this industry, the Bitcoin mining industry, we get a monthly operational update from every single company on this list that you're seeing. Every once in a great while, one of them will skip a month or miss a month for whatever reason. Stronghold recently did that. Then the next month, they gave their information. But for the most part, this has turned into clockwork. The bigger Bitcoin miners, Marathon, Riot, CleanSpark, Bitfarms, Hive, HUT, TerraWolf, Iris Energy, Cypher. Within the first week or week and a half of the month, they've all given us varying levels of detail. Some have gotten incredibly detailed operational updates as to exactly what they did in the previous month. So we get to keep a close eye on this. Now, it's still not as valuable as, a quarterly report. So, you get your 10 Qs and there's an awful lot more information in there. You get the full financial statements, footnotes, etc. So, that's another level of information. But you're able to keep informed on these quite a bit. And I will tell you, having just gone through all of the 10 Qs, I really do see several companies where in my opinion, there's just no number Bitcoin can go to that can save them at this point. And those will be on the list that I put out first week of January. I'm going to put out my bottom 5 list. And listen, that's my opinion. And I can guarantee you there will be people that disagree with me. But I'll walk you through the math. And, if somebody can show me a way, where they can get from here to there, I'll tell you one that I was deeply concerned about. We talked about it on here that won't be on that list. TerraWolf's not on that list anymore. And they were I always said several of these companies I like a lot. I just don't think they're going to make it. And TerraWolf, there's a lot of great things that they've done. I just thought that debt was going to catch up to them and they weren't going to make it. But now, I mean, with a almost $700 million market cap. I just don't see that as an issue anymore. And so George, one of your famous things is, information changes and you got to stay up to date, and, you may change your opinion based on the changing information. Well, moves like this, look at this chart. This is changing, the landscape. I just found this stunning. This is 6 trading days. Right? You got companies up 180%, 265%, 170%. And by the way, if I go here, Core Scientific before this week. So before the 2 days, not the 6 days, they were already up 1,600% on the year. And now this week they're up almost another 50% on top of that. So it's staggering. But like I said last time, there were companies that 100x'd. So are we done? I don't think so. I don't think we're done. I don't think we're anywhere near done. I think most of the upside is ahead of us for Bitcoin, certainly, and a lot of upside for the right Bitcoin miners. But I think some of these are overbought. These small cap stocks, there's a lot of industries like this. In small cap, high growth stuff, you can have surges for a day or a week, and then, there's a mass exodus. Then everybody's out, and all the stocks are left for high and dry, and all the retail investors who thought, oh, my stock's running, they get left holding the bag. So that's the only thing that I would caution people is just know your stocks, and if you feel like you're in one of those, then, if it's a swing trade.
Have an exit strategy.
Exactly. Have an exit strategy.
So you think a few will go out of business, Tom? Do you think a few will go to Chapter 11, or do you think they'll just go done and be bought by other people?
I think first, let me say the real Gary Ginsler. Thanks for the super chat. He said, "Congrats, Tom and George, on the views and the likes. Thank you very much." Yes.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Gary. Just prove that ETF, would you, buddy?
Yeah, exactly. You can smash the like button, although it looks like most of you have. So thank you very much to everybody who has smashed the like button. If you have not subscribed, consider subscribing to the channel. We are a small channel. We could enjoy every new subscriber that we get. And thank you to all of our existing subscribers.
It's a
much
big
appreciated.
family. It's pretty interesting because we fought over turkey dinner for a few months, but it ended up being okay.
That's right. That's for sure. Well, August.
We only had how many people jumped off of buildings, Tom?
I know that Duckman Duckman left me a lot of comments in the comments section that he was standing on the Golden Gate Bridge. So I tried to talk him down.
SDIG will do that to you, buddy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But it's paid off now, so I don't think Duckman's on the bridge anymore. He's had a nice run. Let's see. Yeah,
you were right,
126%.
Yeah, we had fun. This has been good. This has been real good. I think I got nothing to say for once.
Incredible.
No, I think somebody said that Marathon's still undervalued compared to where their post-spot ETF. What massive hole is a game changer for them? I agree. Tom, do you know anything about BMNR?
Nope. BMNR?
Nope.
I can just take a peek at it, but I don't know who they are. Are they a Bitcoin miner?
I don't know. I never heard of them.
There's still some, nano cap stocks out there that I don't know about. BMNR. Is this somebody we know, or is this somebody
just somebody
jumping into?
Just somebody in there. I don't know who he is. I've seen him maybe
Immersion
once or twice.
Technologies, $44 million market cap. So, gross/nano
might be
cap
somebody
company.
to add it and make it around 20, Tom.
The company engages in hosting third-party equipment used in mining of digital assets, coins, and tokens. And based on the fact that they're called Bitmine Immersion, I'm making the leap here that they use immersion cooling, but I don't know that that's true. So this is a host. I wrote them down. I'll take a look and see if there's something that fits into our universe. So, Stronghold is a company. Somebody's asking about Stronghold. Stronghold is a company that George and I have talked about 1,000 times. They're a
Love
company
them.
that we both love. They are doing, they are truly doing important work. As a byproduct of what they're doing, they're mining Bitcoin, and that's their, it's their main source of revenue. They got caught with a massive amount of debt. They had to massively, massively restructure their company. They had to give back a lot of their machines in order to, reorganize and move forward as a company. And they're not what they would have been. They got caught in the crypto winter. And there's a thing that happened this last time around, and it will not happen again. Many of the Bitcoin mining companies went out and bought, and they got debt to buy equipment, and it was financed and collateralized by that equipment. That debt was extremely short term. Most of those notes were 24 months. Some, I think, some on rare exception were 36 months. Well, when things were running and it seemed like Bitcoin was going to 100 or 150, remember, if you put yourself back into October, November, we were in Plan B's universe where, Bitcoin was going to be at 146,000 by December 31st. And, even the banks bought into that, or I won't say banks, lending institutions. And they lent a lot of money on companies that went out and bought Bitcoin mining machines at $50, $60 a terahash, and all those things. We're getting there. These companies are getting the latest and greatest machines that are so many multiples more efficient at $14 a terahash right now. So we had companies paying triple, quadruple, in a couple instances, even more than that, getting debt to finance it. Then crypto winter hit. Those companies got caught. A lot of them still have not managed their way out of that problem. And there will be no more debt in the Bitcoin mining industry. I'm guessing, saying forever is always a mistake, but, for the next 10 years, you won't see that happen again. It's going to be equity financing. And that's what it has turned into. There's been rare exceptions of small amounts of debt in this industry, but that's all you're going to get from here forward, because it's just, in the event of a crypto winter, nobody's going to lend the money on it anymore, because, some of these companies actually did get stuck taking machines back. And let me tell you, the last thing on earth they wanted was Bitcoin mining machines. So, but Iris in particular, Iris Energy is a company that had a massive, massive turnaround. They structured their debt in a way where it was non-recourse. They got to give their machines back, get rid of all their debt, and they created some other vehicles to do that, and they were able to just walk away and say thanks, thanks for playing. And they've turned that around into a very strong company, and congratulations to them for structuring the debt that way. It worked. That they had more foresight than the lender did, and it worked out for them in a big, big way. So the point of all that was Mawson, I think, fell into that group. They really had to restructure things in a way where they're just never going to be, I don't think, what they could have been. Having said that, they have infrastructure in place. They're an energy company, and they are cleaning toxic waste. It's some stagger. What was it? A $500 billion of toxic waste. I mean, so they're doing something important, and so in some manner or fashion, I do believe Stronghold will continue. Is it in chapter 11? Are they going to be able to restructure their debt some more and get to the other side? There's some variables on them, but I do think that work's going to keep going on, and I hope it keeps going as Stronghold, or maybe one of the big companies buys them, because I will tell you, for any anybody that works at any of the big companies that's listening, you want to talk about some good marketing for your company. Owning a Bitcoin mining company where you're mining Bitcoin, creating energy by cleaning up toxic waste. That's some good PR for a Bitcoin mining company.
Very good PR. Woo-wee, Tom.
What else? Let me see if I had anything else specific I wanted to go through. Oh. Yeah, this is miscellaneous, but I just want to go through this because to me, this is an example of what I'm talking about. Here's Bit Digital. So, remember I told you guys the last time around, there was a short report. There was the most vicious short report, I think, in the history of short reports. If you're really bored, you can go back and look. It was a couple, 2.5 years ago now. Basically said, and this is not me saying this, I'm just telling you what the short report said. It said this company's not real. The machines they claim they have don't even exist. And all the members of management are on the run from the law. That's a vicious short report. So I came out, I won't say in defense of them, but I basically said, that short report there didn't seem to be a lot of evidence to back up those claims. This company has restructured in a lot of different ways. They have transformed their company. Having said that, here's a press release. Bit Digital announces doubling the size of their fleet. This is the type of lack of proper communicating skills that I'm talking about with a lot of these Bitcoin mining companies. And why do I say that? So they lead with they're doubling the size of their fleet. Here's the extent of their press release. Because like all press releases, at the bottom, you get the About Bit Digital. That's generic. And then you get the investor notice. This is all cover CYA language. So this is their press release. Bit Digital, a sustainable platform for digital assets and artificial intelligence infrastructure, headquartered in New York City, is pleased to announce that the company targets doubling its operating fleet in its Bitcoin mining operations to approximately 6.0 exahash during 2024. That literally is no information whatsoever. That is not an announcement of a purchase order for Bitcoin mining machines. It's nothing. Oh, by the way, if you do the math, they just got through putting out a press release saying they're at 2.25 exahash. And now this press release says they're going to double themselves to 6 exahash. So somebody needs to recheck their math, number one. And number two, this doesn't say anything. Anybody can come out and say, we're pleased to announce that we're targeting doubling. Well, so am I. George and I are pleased to announce we're targeting doubling the number of subscribers on our channel. Are you in, George? Are we announcing that? Or that's an official announcement. You let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong about this. I just don't understand this. Just as an investor or potential investor, when I read this, I'm like, now I don't want to invest in this company. Because this means nothing. This is double talk. So a lot of Bitcoin miners put out press releases, and perhaps I'm a little overly sensitive to it, but it's not like, listen, this isn't an 8th grader turning in their homework and, they need to rework it. This is a publicly traded company putting out a press release that they have to submit to the SEC that they're putting out to the world to read. So this is what they have to say. Just don't say anything. Wait until you actually have something to say. And that's all I have to say about that.
Well, Tom, I got to sneak out of here.
All right, George, I guess we should call it. But first, absolutely thank you very much, everybody.
Great day. Yes.
Thanks for showing up on the live stream. Much appreciated. It always helps the channel. Hopefully everybody had an absolutely fantastic day in the market. This was one for the record books. hey, let's see what happens tomorrow. This is, there's some momentum here, so this could keep running. We'll see what happens. So, special thanks to all the members. Special thanks to all the super chats. It does help the channel out a lot. And welcome to a few new members. So we will be back Friday, right,
40,
George?
yeah, 43,509 is where Bitcoin is right now. So
all right, let's see where we are by Friday on the live stream. Hopefully all you guys come back and join us on the live stream on Friday, and hopefully by then we'll have a bunch of more green on our watch list here. So thanks again, everybody. Have a fantastic evening. George, thank you for the impromptu live stream.
Tom, thank you.
You're welcome. And have a good night, everybody.
See you guys.